it talks about our imagination and our mental state and the struggles that we go to, and that our brains are a prison, and it makes me reflect on my own life and my own thoughts.
Life is the disease whose patients are heads with minds. Thinkings dictate.
No, you should read the numbers as well. It's
sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Start again?
Yeah.
Life is the disease whose patients are heads with minds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thinkings dictate. 5, 6. Feelings. 7. Nuances give birth to. 8. Nonsense. 9. Names fail to call. 10. Personalities at once. And every spring is a relapse.
And I don't really also agree with life being a disease. I think, and comparing people or citizens with patients with heads, or like it was a hospital. Those are a bit hard words.
First one, life is a disease. It's the disease. Like I don't know why it's a disease. You're born to die, so maybe it's a disease because you're born, you know you're gonna die. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, technically, it kills us.
I think it is a disease, but for everyone different. A different disease. It's a chronic one. It's a chronic illness. Sometimes it's like easier and sometimes it's harder to live with a disease.
Life is the disease whose patients are heads with minds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thinkings dictate. 5, 6. Feelings. 7. Nuances give birth to. 8. Nonsense. 9. Names fail to call. 10. Personalities at once. And every spring is a relapse.
Thinking dictate feelings, that I think it kind of makes sense, the word itself, the phrase itself, because every thought you have, it is supposed to make you feel something, and it kind of influences how you act on it.
That I feel some cultural trends in this. Thinkings dictate feelings. We are way too rational these days, and it's never a bad idea to rely on your intuitions from time to time. Nuances give birth to nonsense. I don't know what the author implied, but to me it sounds like this is exactly what I feel as anxiety when there are lots of nuances that I try to catch from somebody important talking to me, and then I end up having lots of nonsense in my head and just going crazy over it for a couple of days and then coming down, sort of.
I love the word feelings because it stands alone without any numbers and without other words. You think more about what are feelings, and maybe how do you feel right now?
Switches back and forth between 7 nuances, 8 nonsense. I think that's a good pattern and a good tempo, and I like that it kind of breaks it up between the meaning and then taking the steps to count, and life just goes 1, 2, 3, 4 with some breaks in between.
I like the line "names fail to call" because it makes me think about the people I have forgotten about or who have forgotten about me, because in this fast-paced society and
life is the disease whose patients are heads with minds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thinkings dictate. 5, 6. Feelings. 7. Nuances give birth to. 8. Nonsense. 9. Names fail to call. 10. Personalities at once. And every spring is a relapse.
I like the spacing and the use of numbers. It makes your eye go to different places than regular poetry would.
So there are 8 syllables in each line, and the numbers are also syllables with the words. So you can read them all as you go down.
Pre-thought structure, so that you just know how to read it out.
a break between the lines. You read one or two lines and then you have something like a break to repeat it or think about it, and then it goes on and on.
The formatting of way the poem is set up, it's not just in a paragraph form, it's the words are all over the page, they kind of cascade down, especially the last line, and every spring is a relapse is kind of falling down in a waterfall almost, and so the way it's very descriptive and it's very, you can imagine it beyond just what the words say, and so it's very descriptive.
I like what you said about that it looks like a waterfall, because isn't the waterfall kind of like a picture or synonym for things are constantly coming, new things are constantly coming, but it's also kind of the same?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think about what you just said.
I like that way of putting it.
Honestly, from the way Rebecca read it, it sounded much better to me than when I read it myself, because I just automatically skipped all the numbers. But it's actually a very nice rhyme, and it gives that metaphor, or it brings that metaphor that makes it stay with you longer compared to just plain text.
The numbers give it a beat,
Yeah.
which is good for reading out loud, but you know, the numbers can like repeat, so it's just like a cycle.
You have to imagine what it is. It's undefined and very ambiguous, and that describes the meaning of the poem well, that life is ambiguous and that we add our own meaning to it, and it's a very confusing picture, and I think it fits very well with the poem.
It looks like an X-ray when somebody has a disease, because that's the moment when people get X-rays usually, if it's not just a regular checkup.
A womb? Or apples and maybe the birth, something to do with the birth and the woman's womb.
It does look kind of like ovaries.
Yeah.
Or the uterus and fallopian tubes or something.
I mean, I do relate to this picture a lot, because that's how I would probably picture anxiety. The worries of today.
It's actually meant to look like a face in each of these corners. So you can see there's the eye right here and the nose sticking out here and then the mouth. And you wouldn't know that looking at it initially, but once you change your perspective and turn your head, it looks more like a face.
The poem says that every spring is a relapse, and the pictures kind of picture it as a circle without an end and goes over and over again, like a never maybe ending life or process. Yeah.